and welcome back to my channel. Yeah, there is a little bit change in background because I am actually in my brother's room. It's the weekend, so my siblings are at home in the room, so I couldn't do a video in the room, so I went to my brother's room. He is not at home, so I recorded here. Also, I don't know how the lighting is going to be. This is my first time recording in this room, but I hope that it's going to turn out fine. Anyways, today I have a book review for you guys, and the book that I am going to talk about is The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. And I will try to attempt to talk about this book without crying. So I finished reading this book a couple days ago, and after finishing reading this book, I just sat down on my bed for 30 minutes just wondering, what have I read? What was going on? And slowly reality just starts sinking in. If you guys haven't known who is Anne Frank is a Jewish girl who lived in Amsterdam in Netherlands, and during the Nazi occupation her family went to hiding in her father's office in Amsterdam along with 4 other people. So the place that they hide in is her father's office, and it's behind a bookshelf, and it is called the Secret Annex. And they hid there for around 2 years during the Nazi occupation. So while Anne Frank went into hiding, she brought a diary with her, and in that diary she wrote all her heartfelt thoughts, whatever is going on day to day in this secret annex. So yeah, so that's basically what this book is about. After 2 years of staying in the secret annex, they got ambushed by a secret police and being taken to the Auschwitz concentration camp. And unfortunately, Anne Frank didn't survive because there was a flu pandemic going on around her camp. She didn't manage to survive the war. But after the war, her father survived the war. The father tried to find his daughters, hoping that his daughters were still alive, but unfortunately no one survived. So he went back, and the Dutch lady that was working with the father at that point of time gave him her diary, and when he started reading, it was really painful for him. He gave some of her diary entries to his family, his extended family, and they encouraged him to publish her diary, and he did. Anne Frank is a very good writer. From the way she writes her diary, she's in no doubt a very good writer. And what's interesting is that she went into hiding when she was 13 years old. So it was that point of time where she was having a turn of age. It was at that age where puberty happens. So she was practically finding herself. She had to go through the war, and at the same time she had to go through all these emotions that's starting to develop in her. And yeah, in this diary there's a lot of that. She talks a lot about her feelings and about her coming of age and turning into a teenager, I would say. You know, when you're 13 years old, you have no idea what you want at a point of time, and you have so many types of emotions going around you, teenage angst whatsoever. When I was 13 years old, I was just free like a bird, you know. I don't remember doing anything. I don't even remember having to think about life decisions. Anne Frank had to go through lots of hard, difficult decisions, and at the same time having to be able to control her emotions and understand herself. She also writes about her relationship with her family. Their relationship isn't that close, so when she was hiding, she had really no one to talk to, because you know, at 13 years old, nobody listens to you, quite honestly, because they think you're too young to understand anything. But Anne Frank is not like that. For a 13-year-old, she's very matured for her age. Her relationship with her family isn't that close, so a lot of times she had to keep all her feelings, her emotions to herself, and she pours that all in her diary. So by reading these, you can see all her innermost thoughts. You know how she feels, and you can feel what she's feeling. And at certain points in the book, I just had to put this down, because for someone who's at that age, she has lots of things going on in her mind, and I forget that she's a teenager. She sounds like a 30-year-old, not a 13-year-old, and that blew my mind. Basically, the way she writes, very detailed. She pays attention to all the atmospheres. I don't know how she does it, you know. Maybe it's a gift. She wanted to be a writer anyway, that's her ambition, so probably she had that intuition in her to observe and to remember all the things that goes on at a particular point of time. She writes this in Dutch. Susan Masotti is the one that translated her book, and the one that helped edited all her book is her father and Miriam Pressler. So I would say kudos to all of them for really bringing her work out there into life. I got nothing else to say other than it's a very incredible book. She touches on her innermost feelings. She touches on what is going on in that secret annex, what is happening. Her description is so detailed, too real, to a point where I got so engrossed and so involved in her diary that when I stopped reading, I have nightmares. I woke up thinking that I was with Anne Frank, but I'm not with her. That is how much of an incredible writer she is. She writes about politics, about religion, about her race. There are a lot of things that she questioned, and I would say it is very intriguing to know that a 13-year-old could have all these thoughts in her head. So I was really thankful to be reading this. It's really sad because she is such a great writer that you kind of wonder if she is alive right now. She would have probably talked about the war and probably published a lot more books, stories, non-fiction that she could ever dreamed of. And there was one point in the diary where she says that she hopes that people could read her writings, that people could read the stories that she writes. Well, Anne Frank, your book has been sold 25 millions all around the world. Millions of people have read this. So in a way, her wish do come true. She became a writer, she has her own book, and that is her own diary. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. Such a great book. I have been reading books about wars, lots of books about World War II, but I think this is a different type of perspective. It's very, very personal, and it comes from a Jewish girl, 13 years old, living in Amsterdam. So this is just a glimpse of how it was back then, and it was only in Amsterdam, so I just wonder how it was in Germany. I have no idea. But yeah, if you like World War II, if you want to know more about World War II, definitely Anne Frank is a good book to start. It's a non-fiction, but it's her diary, so you will never get bored. Just bear in mind it's a little bit dark because it is as real as it can get, and it's a little bit heavy sometimes, but then again it is her innermost thoughts, so yeah, just bear in mind about that. So my copy is the Penguin copy. It's the 70th anniversary edition. I guess all the editions are the same. When I was backpacking in March, I went to the Anne Frank house while I visited Amsterdam. I'm glad that I get these postcards because it makes the whole thing more real. So let me just show you some of the postcards that I bought and put it inside this book, just to personalize my copy. So the first postcard that I have is this postcard, and it's the Anne Frank's house. It's a cross-section house and also the annex, and if you can see, this is a secret annex. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, it's right here. So I think this is a very neat postcard. Okay, the next postcard is the bookshelf, and as you can see, this is the bookshelf, and behind that, that's the secret annex, and that is the stairs that leads to the second floor. So very awesome. And last but not least, I think this is a very good picture to end off the story, and really I was so glad to have bought this postcard because the feel is just real. It's Anne Frank and this for her pictures. This was taken in 1941 before she goes into hiding. So this was her. I think she was 12 years old if I'm not wrong. Yeah. And I kept that all in my book. And I also have Prison Grad 263 to 267 Amsterdam. So this is the bag that I put my postcards in. Yeah, so that's basically it. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about my experience when I visited Amsterdam. I visited Amsterdam in March during my backpacking, and we were there for like 3 days. We wanted to go to Anne Frank's house, and the host that we stayed with told us that we should go there first thing in the morning because the queue can be really long, like 2 hours long. So yeah, we decided to go there first thing in the morning. So we went there around 10, I would say. There was a queue, but it wasn't so long. We had to wait 30 minutes before we go into that place, and the house wasn't so big, so there's always a maximum capacity that it can have at every one point of time. You can see all the exhibitions. There is also Anne Frank's diary. There were also some of her stories, some newspapers of her stories. It was really interesting to see and read all the details that happened in the secret annex, who was behind the annex, who was the one helping them. There were a few people helping them, and I guess it was really nice. I mean, Anne Frank herself said that it was really nice and noble of them to help them even though they know that they are at risk. We couldn't go into the secret annex, unfortunately. I don't know why, but at that point of time we couldn't. We did see the bookshelf, but I think they didn't allow us to go there anymore, so that's really sad, but it's okay. And at the end there was also a video that shows Anne Frank's best friend. The video was really heartbreaking and really sad because best friend said that if only she knew that her father is still alive, she would have probably hang on and wait for the war to end and then be with her father, because if you read it, you know how her relationship with her father is, and it's just really sad to know that she was the last one and it was almost towards the end of the war and she didn't knew. I think she just gave up and the flu took her, the war took her. So that was very sad. I am almost gonna cry right now just thinking about it. What's sadder is that after the war, there was this picture of her dad. I don't know if I can find it, but if I can, I will just show it to you guys now. In that picture, her dad was standing at the attic and he was just looking into the abyss, and I think that he must have felt really sad is knowing that all of his family members are gone and he was the only one alive, and knowing that he found the diary and that it was really hard for him to read the diary because he has never seen that side of Anne Frank before. He never knew her daughter could be that way, and again it was a surprise for him that his daughter actually could be reasoned with and has such a mature thinking. He just never knew that her daughter could be like that. So that's my review. So do tell me if you read this book, what you think about it, how you feel about it, and if you have went to the Anne Frank house, do share with me below what you feel, how was your experience after that. I know I went out and I was really disheartened and it was cold, so even more bitter for me. Also, if you like this video, then thumbs up, and if you want to watch more book related content, then do subscribe. I love chatting with you guys, I love interacting with you guys, it's really fun. So yep, other than that, have a great day, chill out. There's a Holland. Welcome to Singapore.